Today, we're designing and making a simple wood mountain collage with a laser cutter. This one is inspired by all the amazing art that I've seen in the laser cutting communities. To design this project, we'll be using a program called Rhinoceros and start by drawing a border at 18 inches wide by 10 inches tall, which fits the maximum cutting size of my Glowforge laser cutter. With the overall outline complete, I draw green lines and space them 1 inch apart. These will be the guides to help draw the abstract mountains and other elements of the art piece. Once the entire grid of green lines are laid out, I lock that layer so I don't move any of them by accident, and I start drawing the lines for the mountains. The goal of this project and design is to keep everything as simple as possible, so I decided to make the mountains large acute triangles. I start a point at the intersection of the border and guide and finish the line with a point where the guides intersect. After the triangle is complete, I join the separate lines and use the offset command to create duplicate values of triangles spaced ½ inch apart from one another. The idea is to use two different types of wood and create a visually dynamic art piece by changing each layer from dark to light. When the larger mountains were designed, the next step was to design mountains in the distance. To do this, I followed the same logic as the ones in the foreground and started the first point of the line where the green guideline intersects with the mountain in the foreground. I complete the triangle, join the lines, and offset them to get triangles spaced ½ inch apart. To draw the last few elements in this abstract art piece, I used circles to create a sun at the top right corner and offset it ½ inch just like the mountains. I also added a cloud at the top of the art piece, which took several attempts because I couldn't get the cloud to work with the proportions of the rest of the piece. I decided to use circles of varying sizes and randomly spaced apart, which worked very well. With the art designed, the last step was to create the backer piece, which is a rectangle that fits the entire perimeter of the project. Now, I gather my materials including 1/8 inch mahogany and oak plywood, superglue, paper masking tape, plastic card to apply the tape, and a utility knife. I'll also use blue painter's tape to hold everything together as I take it out of my laser cutter and finish the wood with oil. I apply the paper masking tape by unrolling it, aligning the edges with the plywood, and getting the air bubbles out with my plastic card. This will protect the plywood from scorches, burns, and debris from the laser. I load up my Glowforge laser cutter, insert the plywood, set up my file in the online interface, and start the process of laser cutting. For this project, I decided to reduce the amount of waste I would have by cutting each of the files twice, once with the mahogany and again with the oak plywood. I'll switch out the different layers to get a two-tone wood art piece, and I'll also end up with 2 products by the end of this project. This is the first wood collage art that I've designed, and I'm excited to see how it comes out. The goal I set for this project was to make it as quick and simple as possible to create, which is different from my lamps and sculptural creations. I also realized that this is my 4th year of owning and using my Glowforge laser cutter. It's starting to show some signs of deterioration, but I'm hoping it'll continue running for years to come. With all the pieces cut, I apply blue painter's tape to hold all the pieces together so I can transfer them to my work table. I separate the pieces and frame from the rest of the material and flip it over so I could start removing the paper masking tape from the back of each piece. While doing this, I realized that the project or a future one could be a simple pattern engraving using one material instead of collaging 2 different ones together. It would be faster and easier to create while also looking beautiful. Once all the masking tape was removed, I brought over my super glue and applied it to every other piece. I took my time going from one piece to the next to avoid applying glue to the wrong ones. I also applied glue to the entire frame. Now, it's time to flip the entire assembly, align the edges with the backer board, and press down to glue every piece into place. It's helpful to use the edge of the frame and backer board as a guide for aligning all the pieces. When the glue dried, I removed the blue masking tape and used it to separate the pieces that were not glued in place. These voids will help us align the oak pieces that will be glued into place. I bring over the oak pieces, apply glue to the back of each piece, and press them into place. Once the glue dried, it was time to remove the paper masking tape to reveal the beautiful wood and the changing patterns of dark to light. The contrast between both types of wood looks beautiful when they're placed next to one another in this art piece. The last step was to bring over a natural oil and apply it onto the surface of the wood using a lint-free cloth. This brings out the rich color and grains of the mahogany and oak and gives it a nice shiny finish. This simple abstract wood art of mountains is a fast and easy project to cut and put together. It looks beautiful with the different tones of wood, and it's a product that people who love the outdoors will enjoy having in their home. If you enjoyed this video, you should check out the wood products playlist on my channel and consider subscribing. I look forward to seeing you again next week.
you.